Greetings everyone, my name is Maya and today I'm going to be sharing with you my first trimester story. Obviously, it's just my personal experience and I really hope that you'll find it relatable, useful and filled with tips because that's my main priority. And considering that I'm a future master's in clinical psychology, all of the things I'll be sharing with you today will be kind of covered with this psychological point of view of mine, so I hope you'll find it exciting to watch. Starting with the first month, we found out that we were pregnant at 1.5 weeks. It was not an unexpected change in our life. We were awaiting and planning this pregnancy, so I was not experiencing any shock or over-the-moon excitement when I saw those 2 lines on the pregnancy test. It was just a warm feeling that you kind of experience when you meet someone that you missed for a very long time, and it was very weird to see myself being so calm and collected in this because I was expecting to be jumping, yelling, crying. That was usually what I saw on TikToks and Reels on Instagram. It's definitely something that surprised me for sure. For the first month of me being pregnant, I did not notice any physical or emotional changes at all. The only thing that actually changed slightly was my sense of smell. This tricky feeling that you get when your sense of smell is altered is, for example, when you want to eat something really bad and then you smell it and you understand that, oh, it does not smell like I remember it to smell like, and it's not attractive to me anymore. And that's why overall the things that I started to eat really changed. And during my first trimester, I almost completely stopped eating eggs and meat because I could not stand the smell and the texture of it. Overall, my first month was pretty easy and chill, and I wouldn't say that throughout my whole first trimester that I saw any kinds of changes in terms of my physical body. My bump was not showing until I was like 4.5 to 5 months pregnant, so it was pretty easy to hide my pregnancy during that first trimester from the people around me. Moving into the second month, this is the time when we went to our first ultrasound, which was at around 8 weeks, and did all of the necessary blood work and urine work to check and make sure that everything is okay with the baby. And it's actually such a heartwarming experience to hear the heartbeat of your baby for the first time. Great tip that I would recommend to anyone who is pregnant nowadays in the super modern society is changing the mode of your phone app that's tracking your periods to a pregnancy mode. The app that I use at the moment is Flow, and within this app you can add your partner so he or she can follow on their device the growth of your baby, the comparison of the baby at this or that period of time with a fruit or a vegetable, which is extremely cute. And additionally, it gives you lots of information considering nutrition and the type of organs and tissues your baby is developing at a certain point and stage, and what things are more useful to be consumed during that time. It gave just the right amount of scientific information and gynecologist approved articles about pregnancy and baby development and baby care without overwhelming you with it. It allows you to check in with your symptoms every single day so that you can have the record of body weight changes, of your mood changes, of your discharge, which all could be very useful pieces of information when you go to your OBGYN appointment. Moving into the second month, this is the month when I started to feel a lot of toxicosis, which is nausea, vomiting, heartburn, lightheadedness, dizziness, and I was extremely tired during my second and third month of being pregnant. I was sleeping every single day additionally during the day for like 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes even 2 hours. I did not have any wild specific cravings. The feeling that I felt is that I cannot eat anything. I actually lost weight during my first trimester. I did not gain anything because I was vomiting everything out. It definitely was a hard time for me because when I was coming into the pregnancy, I did not know the family history I had because from as far as I know, based on the scientific research, toxicosis is mostly genetic. So it's not like you can influence it by any means, but generally it's just something that some people are blessed with and some people are not. And I was in the category of people who started the pregnancy with the intensity of the toxicosis symptoms at about 3 to 4 out of 10. and it ended at about being like 9-10 points out of 10. It was severe for me. Gucci decided to not continue to this dark and heavy part of the video, but I think it's important to talk about the emergency visits and the fact that you must get emergency help if you feel like you need to get the emergency help, and you never should postpone it, because I personally went to the emergency room myself. There was one occasion when I was about 11 weeks pregnant and I had cramps for about 5 days, which were like lower abdominal pain, and I could not understand whether it was in my uterus or whether it was in my bladder. I went to the emergency room, did an ultrasound, did all of the blood work and urine work. I did not get a concrete answer of what exactly happened at that point, but it was presumed that it's possibly abdominal muscle stretching causing this kind of period cramping pain. And it's very, very important to notice any changes in your vaginal discharge, because this may be the signs of early miscarriage. And I had another occasion when I almost fainted. I just woken up, I was doing my breakfast, and I understood that I cannot stand on my 2 feet. And first I decided to sit down, then I started to have like a very weird breathing pattern. And then I decided to lay down, and I was actually feeling like I'm gonna faint and lose my consciousness. And it's actually pretty important and serious if you happen to be in that situation when you're pregnant. And it's very, very important not to lose your consciousness and not to lose your breathing, and generally not put yourself in that kind of situations. And again, my blood pressure was checked, everything was checked by the emergency doctor that came, and everything turned out to be fine. Considering the things that I just shared with you, I just did not learn my lesson just yet. And I was thinking that, well, I do have to build my strength, and I do have to build my resistance and being able to survive the birth, because this process is definitely a lot of work and a lot of physical exhaustion. So I was trying to go to yoga prenatal classes, and I was doing some light cardio at home, which eventually led to me being hospitalized for 10 days because I started to have some kind of a bloody discharge and my water was leaking, and it happened very spontaneously. I was not expecting it, but I did get the signs that I was tired and exhausted, and I for some reason decided that it's time to push yourself a little bit more, just because I was so dedicated in making sure that I stay fit and active during my pregnancy, because this is the thing that I read in most of the literature that I was absorbing during that time. I left the hospital without any concrete diagnosis of what that was, except for like a risk for a miscarriage, because unfortunately the things that are happening in our bodies during the first trimester are so individual and unexpected and so unique to each and every person that you cannot be 100% sure that this exact exercise or this exact lifestyle caused the things that it caused. And fortunately, I'm fine, the baby's fine, but it was definitely a scary time, and I would recommend to everyone who is thinking that they're superwomen, superhumans that can do it all and that can work out and do their house chores and do everything all at once while trying to literally create a human out of nowhere. You can't, and you need to be very, very conscious about the way that your body feels and the signal that it sends you, because our expectations of what our pregnancy would look like, how we will behave, and how we will spend those 9 months are absolutely different from the reality. And it was hard for me to accept the reality that yes, my pregnancy would be the kind of pregnancy where I would have to lay down and sit most of the time, otherwise I would lose my baby. Another topic that I'd like to shortly cover is the non-invasive prenatal testings that you can do during your first trimester. In the country I was at the moment, it was mandatory for everyone to do the first trimester screening, which consisted of 2 types of screening. The first one was the ultrasound, where the specific doctor was measuring the size of the head of the baby, the dimension between the nose and the forehead, the nose and the chin, to make sure that the baby has or doesn't have any chromosomal dysfunctions. And additionally, there was a blood test as well to see if there are any chromosomes that are unhealthy and abnormal. Another great thing that me and my husband decided to do privately, and we paid for it obviously, is a chromosomal blood test. And it's a blood test when you can find out the gender of your baby before their genitalia develops to the stage where it can be easily visible on an ultrasound. And the way that this blood test works is that it takes the sample of your blood and it checks your blood whether it has any additional chromosomes which are not your gender chromosomes floating in there. If there are any, it means that you're most likely expecting a boy. If there aren't any, it means that you have the same blood that your fetus does, which means that it's a girl. And it was a way for us, for me and my husband, to share with us ourselves privately the gender of our baby before we announced it to everyone else. And it actually allowed us to kind of bond with the baby a bit more, because you understand as the time passes by that this is a literal human being growing inside of you and forming out of nowhere. To sum up this video, there are two more things I'd like to share. The first one is obviously educate yourself. There are so many free resources online that are available for people who are trying to get to know more information about the way that the pregnancy works, the way that the birth process works, the way that your hormones work. And I just literally bought like 3 or 4 books that were scientific enough for me, because I wanted to base all of my knowledge about being pregnant on the proven information that is not based on some superstitions that we have in our cultures. Because when you're educated and you know what to expect, you're not that scared to experience something that is absolutely new to you. That's one thing. And another thing is that generally I would say the whole pregnancy journey for now has been the journey of me kind of becoming myself and coming back to myself. I've never been more secure, confident in myself, and more emotionally stable. I do think that those are hormones working and changing me. But at the same time, I think that the amount of wisdom you kind of gain from understanding how the world works from the biological perspective is unbelievable. And I'm so grateful that I was given this opportunity to naturally experience this and go through it. And if anyone is interested in our conception story, which was not an easy journey at all, I would be grateful and happy to share it here. Thank you for everyone who watched until this part. Leave me a comment if there's anything you'd like to discuss. And I really hope that this kind of broadened your perspective on how pregnancy may look like and how first trimester may feel like. So thank you for your time. I'll see you very, very soon in the next video. Bye.